Chaos ensued in Castries City along Chaussee Road on Wednesday afternoon.
I going down there and risk my life for, but stop that, stop that! And nobody not saying nothing. If somebody or one of them get chopped on the road or something, I know they're stupid, but they're young. They're young and stupid.
Reckless, armed and dangerous young men from rival factions exchanged missiles with machetes in hand as they warred in the streets on Wednesday afternoon.
I don't pass my people are not passing it. I'm not passing it. Look at them.
Castries Central MP Richard Frederick, in an over-the-phone interview with News Force, makes a special appeal directed at the youth involved. He urges them to cease their careless actions before irreparable harm is done.
Those guys seem to be pelting stones and arm themselves with cutlasses, and they do so with total impunity, not concerned about the injuries they may cause to innocent bystanders or the damage that they may cause to vehicles that traverse the road. I want to let those young boys know that what they're doing will obviously be detrimental to their future, because at the end of the day, an employer seeking to employ persons, when he gets wind, of the attitude of some of those boys, and the video is in existence, invariably they put themselves on a back foot in terms of seeking employment. The other thing is, when you indulge in that kind of violent behavior, I mean, two things are almost inevitable. One, law enforcement would be, you would find yourself entangled in law enforcement. And secondly, you will end up in one of two places, either bodily or the cemetery, in an untimely manner.
The parents of the young boys caught up in the recent Chaussee Road violence were also brought into focus.
I'm calling on the boys to examine themselves, examine what they do. It is not right. It is not just. That perpetuation of violence is totally unnecessary. But that does not mean that the parents are not to be blamed at all. I do believe that the parents need to exercise a certain degree of supervisory control over their children, and to install in them an attitude that basically prevents them, or it caused them to militate against getting involved in that kind of gang violence.
Despite the incident being captured from multiple angles by different cell devices, in broad daylight and in full view of witnesses, law enforcement officials have reported that no official reports were made to the police. This lack of action is another concerning aspect of the ordeal. Richard Frederick is now emphasizing the urgent need for societal change, highlighting the importance of community members actively engaging with law enforcement to address and prevent such acts of violence in the future.
Well, you see, everybody believes that he or she should seek refuge in their own comfort zone, and not to be a snitch, or not to, tell tales on anybody, or basically point fingers at anybody. But at the end of the day, if we have to think of the greater good of society, the lives that we may save in doing our moral duty may just be our own or that of one of our peers. So I'm urging persons who witness those incidents to go to the police, and don't be afraid to point out who the perpetrators are, because we cannot have a society, especially our country, being so dependent on tourism, with hooligans like that pervading the streets and doing that kind of thing, throwing stones, wielding cutlasses, and basically doing it with impunity. That cannot be a situation we can permit to perpetuate.
Frederick regards the increase in police presence in hotspot zones and heightened surveillance as crucial steps in combating violent crime. However, he acknowledges the complex nature of crime, recognizing that addressing its root cause requires a more comprehensive approach.
Crime fighting and behavioral control must be a multifaceted, you must undertake a multifaceted approach. No one mechanism will work to completely obliterate what is happening. But of course, that is one of the mechanisms that ought to be deployed, and I do believe it will make its contribution in ensuring that the situation is squared to a given extent.
Frederick harbors hope that heightened community engagement will bolster law enforcement's endeavors to derail gang violence. Joachim de Blasi, HTS News Force.